Sometimes when you're planning your Disney trip, you have to figure out what you're willing to give up and what you want to keep. We talk about that when it comes to the resorts. This is episode 86 of Salute to the Ears. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Salute to the Ears. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Erica.
And we decided to share some travel thoughts. Planning thoughts.
We've been in this mindset of we have no trips planned right now. And this is the first time in really since 2019 that we don't have any trips planned whatsoever. And so it feels really weird and really odd. We've helped some friends plan their trips. They've had some really great experiences, both in Disney World and Disneyland. But we keep bringing up the what would you do? We've got all of our favorite vloggers and people that we follow and we love watching and we love seeing what they're doing. And, hearing the stories from our friends that are going. And so we keep coming back to this what would you do if you could go right now? And we thought we would share it with you guys. We've been on a little schmidget break.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sent the boy to college. And then life got really crazy with school. I got sick.
Right.
And I was down for almost a week. And then you've been crazy busy with work. And I've been crazy busy with work.
Right.
And it's just been a little insane. Before we get into the Disney stuff, though, I want to say Happy Alive Day. Tomorrow, when this comes out, is your 13th Alive Day.
It is.
Lucky 1-3. If you want to hear more about what happened and trigger warning, trauma warning, it's intense. We have an episode. We'll link it in the show notes. But we have an episode talking all about it from a couple years ago.
Man, 13 years.
I know.
Woo. Yeah. All right. So, much more fun note. We were talking the other day. We were sitting outside, eating dinner or whatever, and the discussion came up about resorts.
Yeah.
About when you're picking your resorts, you kind of have to, your budget's always your determining factor, right? Budget and then time.
Right.
But is it better to plan for a hotel that's convenient, transportation-wise, going to be paying more, so location.
Right.
Or save some money and either ride the buses.
Right.
Exclusively buses, or Uber it.
Or have your own car.
Or have your own car. Yeah.
That's the other option. We were talking about this in terms of if you're looking at planning a Disney vacation and you've never gone, you've never done this, you've never experienced joy of the 3 tiers of Disney availability, Disney hospitality, your value resorts are going to be your most motel-like resorts.
Right.
They're going to be the simplest as far as your rooms and amenities. Moderate's going to be somewhere in between, right? Still going to be a motel entrance, but it's going to be, a few more amenities, sit-down dining on property versus no sit-down dining on property. When you have quick service, but no table service.
Right.
At a value. And then your deluxe resorts are the ones that are going to have the most amenities. They're going to be your hotel style buildings where you are entering into the building and walking down the hallway to your room versus an outside entrance. They're your most expensive.
Yes.
They're typically your larger rooms.
Somewhat. Yeah.
like, and usually provide more in the way of suites and amenities available.
Usually better pools.
Yes.
More restaurants. And then you also get the extended evening
Right.
in the parks with the deluxe hotels.
Right. So certain parks have certain nights where it's extended hours and you get, if you're staying in a deluxe resort. We've had the privilege of staying at most of the moderates.
Yeah. Is there a moderate we haven't stayed at?
I think so.
I mean, the cabins, Fort Wilderness cabins used to be
Right.
considered moderate, but now they're DVC, so I don't know.
I think maybe that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, because we've stayed Caribbean.
Right.
We've stayed Coronado Springs.
Right. We've stayed at both sides of Port Orleans,
Right.
Riverside and French Quarter. We're missing one.
Are we?
We haven't stayed at, we've eaten there, but they're technically like Old Key West and Saratoga Springs.
Those are considered deluxe.
Are they considered deluxe?
In DVC, yeah.
I
think.
My mind is drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, I think we've stayed at all the moderates. And we've stayed at a grand total of 0 of the values.
So we've always ended up with, typically when we stay, we use our military discount. And a lot of times we've been able to get moderate room rates, moderate or even deluxe room rates with such a significant discount that it didn't make any sense to not spend the money on it.
Right.
And I think for us, that's always kind of been the thing. We are rope drop to park close people.
Yeah.
We aren't in the room a ton, typically.
Right.
When it's been just us, we've spent more time in the room than when we've been with the kids, but mostly because we're old now. I need a nap, okay? And we prefer the amenities that are available between the moderates and the deluxes.
Right. Right. I think one of the things we talked about is if you're going to be staying a little bit longer and you're going to have a resort day where you're just going to be lounging at the pool, maybe enjoying the restaurants there, going like nice, easy day, maybe going over Disney Springs or whatever, but wanting to come back and just relax, you might want to think about spending the little bit of extra money on the moderate and deluxes, right? The pools at the value, if your kids are water slide kids, doesn't have them. It's pretty, like, the pools have some theming to them, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, they're nice pools. It's not like they're like crap pools.
Right. But compared to like Caribbean Beach or Coronado, like, which are just the next step up at moderate, or you want to go up to deluxe and go to like everybody's favorite pool of Stormland Bay, which has a sand bottom, and that's over at Yacht Beach. I mean, I guess you have to figure out again where you want to spend that money, right?
Yeah. So we were talking about this whole, and like that's our preference. Our preference lies in staying at either a moderate or a deluxe when we can swing it, of being able to have, those extra amenities. So more dedicated buses.
Right.
You're not necessarily stopping at other resorts. Having a different form of transportation, like the Skyliner or the monorail.
Yeah.
We love that.
Right.
Like that's part of what is like the Disney bubble for us.
Right.
And so for us, that's a huge part of the experience overall, and not something that we are necessarily wanting to give up. But if you had to give that up, would you? If somebody said, I will give you annual passes,
right?
Like, here you go, here's your annual passes, but you have to only stay at value resorts.
Right.
Like,
well, you can swing. There is a value resort that's on the Skyliner route.
Right.
And that's Art of Animation, and Pop Century is real close.
Right.
And so you can still hop on that, but you have to ride that over to the main depot and then get
Caribbean.
off. And so you can still do that.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's hard is we've been lucky enough to stay in Magic Kingdom resorts, and getting to hop on a monorail and be there in 5 minutes,
or a
boat from Wilderness and get entertained by a captain and be there in 10.
Yeah.
And then when you go to leave at night, if you're taking the
you're
boat,
not waiting in line.
Right. Like you can usually hop on a boat pretty quick. Like if you're like, oh, I really don't want to take the monorail, you can still take a boat over to Poly or Grand Floridian,
Mm-hmm.
Or you can walk.
Yeah. I mean, I think it will be hard for me to give that up.
Right.
If that's not something that we can do next time, is to be on at one of those locations.
Mm-hmm.
One, like, I'm a Magic Kingdom girly. I love Hollywood Studios. I love all the parks, but give me Magic Kingdom every day. I want to see the castle every day.
Yeah.
And so being able to stay in a resort where you can see the castle is pretty great.
It is.
What are some of the things that you would say about choosing a resort as far as the food amenities versus the transportation amenities?
Okay. So if you think you're going to spend some time at sit-down restaurants.
Yeah.
We've already said you don't get that at the value resorts. Right?
They only have quick service.
Right. So,
and those quick services are usually pretty busy.
They are. They're usually pretty busy. They're like, especially like Pop and Art of Animation, like they're good. Like for being quick service, fast food. I mean, that's the way to explain it.
And they're pretty decent size too.
Yeah. Yeah.
The moderates and the values tend to have pretty decent sized quick service restaurants, whereas the deluxe has very small quick service.
And part of that too is the deluxes, for the most part, have been there for a while.
Yeah.
Especially the Magic Kingdom ones.
Yeah.
And then
Animal Kingdom's quick service is bigger.
It's pretty good size. And there's lots of seating outside and stuff for that one. And like Yacht Club, Beach Club, Boardwalk, all of that. I really think when they designed them, they were really trying to push people out to the boardwalk to get food.
Yeah.
You have some options there. But like you go over to like Old Key West, it's like grab and go basically.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about Yacht and Beach Club too, Yacht and Beach Club was before Boardwalk. And Yacht and Beach Club is right there at the entrance to the World Showcase entrance, Epcot, international entrance. And so you can, like, if you've got tickets,
right, you can just
go in there and get food versus having to, if you've got park tickets, but
there are places there to eat.
There are.
Right.
I remember having a really great character breakfast there when I was younger.
Yeah. Yep. Probably at Cape May. Now, moderates have some good choices too. There are a lot of different choices over at Coronado Springs.
Yep.
But that's because it's also a convention hotel, right? It was designed not necessarily for the Disney guest, but for people who are coming for a convention and giving them a bunch of different things to choose from, right? Their quick service is huge.
Yes.
CBR's,
theirs is pretty big. Yeah. Caribbean Beach is pretty big.
Right.
Port Orleans French Quarter is decent size.
Yeah, for
it's
as
not
small
huge.
as that hotel is, it's
a good size. And then Riverside is a pretty good size. It's been a while since I've been over there, so I'm trying to
most of the moderates, you really only have one sit down choice.
Yeah.
Maybe a sit down choice and then a pull bar.
Yeah.
That has a little bit of stuff. But you get into the deluxe, a lot of times there's several. Like there, you have a couple at Animal Kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
Grand Floridian.
You got a buffet at Animal Kingdom too.
Right.
One of them is a buffet, which is like,
oh, so good.
I instantly want the
Bulma, I miss you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disney, please sponsor us. We will do nothing but talk about how great you are, I promise.
Yeah. Wilderness has choices.
Yeah.
Well,
and the thing is too, is like now most of the deluxes have a DVC aspect to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got this DVC aspect of the intention of that was supposed to be that like, oh, you're going to come and you're going to stay for, more than a week.
Right.
You're going to be here for a length of time. And so having these options that are a little more varied in what you can eat, or being able to, they're planning on those DVC rooms for the most part, planning on like, you're going to bring in food and prepare it at least some.
Right.
Like, you're not just eating in the restaurants like you are at a value resort or even at a moderate.
Right.
And so it's just a different vibe. It's a different vibe. If I had to give up the table service restaurants at most of the moderates and deluxes, I probably could.
Right.
Like, we've had really good food at them, but it's expensive.
It's expensive. And like you said, we tend to spend the vast majority of our time in the parks.
Now, we have had some of those restaurants that we really enjoyed having like kind of a special occasion meal at, or, that first night there, getting to like, you're not trying to rush through, a quick service line and trying to get, figure out what everybody wants or mobile order or like, and it's kind of nice to like get there and just go, okay, we're just gonna, we're gonna sit and relax. That is a positive.
It is. But even when those are there, I mean, we still tend to hit the quick service. But the
more than anything.
The quality of the quick service is really good too. But I guess you have to, like, the thing you really have to weigh is a value resort right now is like roughly $190 a night. Go to Grand Destino or Coronado Springs, right? You're looking anywhere from $270 to like $315 in the tower per night. You go to a Magic Kingdom deluxe resort, you're probably looking at pretty close to $600 a night.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's a big jump.
It's a significant jump. And again, you're getting those extra hours. You're getting that kind of that security aspect of interior entry into your rooms. You're getting a little more amenities wise within your room. Better pools, more choices for food, more choices for transportation in general. I mean, that's a huge,
it is.
What you're paying for in that, you are getting stuff out of that.
You are.
And, it's like now with staying on property, you get the option to book your lightning lanes 7 days out.
Right.
I'm like, that's huge. Like that's a game changer for me now of getting that amenity back. Cause that was around before with FastPass, before COVID, before everything shut down, they changed everything. If you were staying on property, you got to book your FastPasses early.
Right.
And that was huge because it meant that you could plan for your day a little bit. And you could go, great, I've got FastPasses, from 10 to 11 and 1 to 2 and, however you wanted to do them and set them up. But then you could go, great, okay, we also want to eat at such and such restaurant that day. So you could kind of go, okay, I've already got some stuff. Having that amenity back is huge. Like it is one of the things that will make me want to continue to stay on property. And we've been banging the table for the last 4 years of like, bring that back.
Right. Yeah, I think maybe we'll start seeing some more perks, even more perks coming back, where they're trying to get people to stay at deluxes more.
Yeah.
Because the values tend to fill up pretty
Right.
quick.
I mean,
Like,
your values go fast, especially when you have event weekends.
right. Pop Century is usually full.
Yeah.
Or Art of Animation, usually full. Like, those two fill up probably as fast or faster than any of the other hotels. Like, you go and look, you can usually find a room at Grand Floridian or Poly, or just because
we've
very
had
expensive.
times where we've gone to look at a vacation during a certain week, and we do not travel typically during peak season. So you're not talking about where we're like trying to go necessarily when everybody else is. Right. So even when we're looking at dates that are sort of off, not super, super crazy, we've had before, we've looked and been planning out a trip and gone, there is only like one or two moderates, and everything else is deluxe, and there's no value resorts available. There is no, like, the moderates we wanted weren't available. Like,
and sometimes those discounts you're wanting to use, like for us military, it doesn't apply to, like, you can't use them at some, like, you can't use them at Pop, you can't use them at Caribbean Beach anymore. Like, there's restrictions to them and which ones you can use them at.
Yeah. So, and the hard part is with the military one, you have to call, and you have to have them tell you which ones are available and when, and kind of what your discount is. It used to be, this is not the same system anymore, but it used to be that it was on average a 20% discount on the value resorts, a 30% discount on the moderate resorts, and a 40% discount on the deluxe resorts. And so it made it really possible for us to have go stay in a moderate for a value price, or stay in a deluxe for a moderate price. And, or just slightly more, where we went, okay, it's a couple $100 more total on our trip. Like, yeah, we can swing that. There is still a pretty significant discount on those moderate and deluxes that are available. But it's not always the same.
No.
And it's not always the room type that you want. And it's not always, and so, I think we're going to see in this next year, I think in 2025, we're going to see more discounts come out for rooms.
I do too.
I think we're either going to see some new dining plan stuff and options there, and discounts associated with that, and being able to stay on property.
Probably the same thing with Lightning Lane. I think we'll see some discounts, or
like it's included, like a package deal.
But when that stuff happens, you really have to kind of weigh everything, because sometimes you have to pay full price then
for the room
to get the free dining or whatever. So
and that's that whole like, okay, how do we weigh where we stay, how we're budgeting for this, as far as like, what are we budgeting for food? Well, if you're going to eat mostly quick service because that's your budget, then it doesn't make any sense to even think about even staying in a moderate.
Unless it's a transportation thing. But one of the things you can think about, if you're staying at a value, you've saved enough money then to where you could Uber or Lyft or minivan every day to the parks and still be under that price. So it's something to think about. Because we do like sporting on a minivan.
Yeah, I really do like riding the minivan. That is Disney's best transportation idea ever.
Especially when you have a good minivan driver.
Yeah. The dog's trying to get in on the podcast.
Yeah, it's okay.
I thought she was going to come in here.
Yeah. But I think those are really some of the things you really have to look at, is like transportation. One of the other perks for people is they can see the fireworks, like from Poly or Grand Floridian or Contemporary. You can see them from Wilderness, but you can see fireworks from Grandestino, which is the tower over at Coronado, which has this spectacular views. You only got bus travel. We've watched them from the pool inside of Caribbean Beach.
We watched the Epcot fireworks from there.
You can see fireworks. I'm trying to think of any of the other. I don't think you can see them from the Port Orleans resorts. So
I think you kind of see the tops of one of them,
Maybe.
like the real
Maybe.
high up ones, but that's about it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to cut this short
Okay.
though.
Yeah.
Because Brooklyn needs to be picked up
Oh.
from soccer. So
yeah. Okay. All right. If you have any questions about what we think about weighing different options, feel free to contact us. You can find us on X, Instagram, Threads.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's about
all
it.
of them. All of them are a salute to the ears.
Comment on the YouTube.
Yep. Comment on the YouTube. Like, feel free to send us any messages you have. Travel agents are your friend with all this stuff.
Yes.
And with
we
that,
know the best one.
Yep. Hey, Lori. With that, I'm going to say go out and find your joy.
And have a magical week.